Hello and welcome to Boards and Chords. Come on in, have a seat. We've saved a spot for you. Today we're talking about Firefly. Find a crew, find a job, keep flying. This is the heart of Firefly the game. It's based on the 2002-2003 television sci-fi western series by Joss Whedon. This game offers players the chance to forge adventures in the universe of the Browncoats, the Alliance, and the Reavers. As a player, you'll pick a captain from the likes of Malcolm Reynolds, Burgess, Monty, Nandy, and more, flying off into the big black in your ship, the Firefly of your choice. Each game, we will choose a story card which details the goals that are needed to be declared the winner. These goals amount to tasks completed, such as acquiring a certain amount of money, becoming solid with the crime job contacts, and doing deeds called misbehaving. These goals amount to tasks like doing crime jobs or shipping or just transport. The captain usually earns money by completing these jobs given by contacts. Some of them involves legal jobs, and some of them are crime jobs like smuggling. If you're going through Alliance space, you're going to be under more scrutiny for the crime jobs, and it's rather risky. You might be doing some highly illegal and immoral jobs like stealing vaccines in a train robbery. But the higher the risk, the higher the reward, and your payoff will be greater if you can pull off the job successfully. Once a captain completes a job for a contact, such as Patience or Niska or Badger, that captain becomes solid with the contact. Having proven their reliability, the captain can receive some ongoing benefit from them, like the ability to sell or buy cargo from them or contraband at a special price, which can then allow you to sell it at other places at a good rate, or otherwise get some sort of good benefit like that. Several planets in the galaxy are considered supply planets, and they have a deck of cards that are associated with them that you can use to buy upgrades for your ship or weapons or hire additional crew. And these in turn will help you complete jobs more efficiently or better, or sometimes at all. Sometimes you'll need special skills or equipment to complete a job. So traveling through the universe will provide challenges and opportunities as well. So you will, as you move throughout space, draw movement cards from these two face-down decks, whether you're going through Alliance space in the blue or border space in the yellow marked areas. Sometimes a lot of these cards will say keep flying, which means you're moving through space and it's rather uneventful. And they can be opportunities or hazards, such as salvage opportunities, ship breakdowns, and even reaver attacks. So you better stay on your toes. In terms of components, this game is a huge game. The base game comes with a 20-inch by 30-inch board, and you'll need several inches on either side of the board for cards, for your ships, your ship boards, and the pieces. There's the paper money, There's the movement cards, there's dice, there's tokens. You'll just have tons of stuff that comes with this that you need room for as well. As for the ships, they have a great amount of detail. They're really wonderful as you look at them really closely. But they're unpainted models, which is okay because each of the ship models for the players especially are color coordinated with your ship board, and you need that color differentiation because since the Firefly ships are all identical except for the paint. Otherwise you would need to paint them in such a way that maintains that distinctiveness. The cards, as we say, we've got at least a dozen decks of cards. They're standard glossy card stock, but the cards are really great. They have interesting artwork on the backs, and then the front of the cards each have screen grabs from the series that represent whatever it is we're looking at here, a particular part for a ship, or the portrait for a crew member, or the job from a contact. They do a great job of bringing the whole theme of Firefly to life. It cultivates the immersion into the Firefly universe. Even the printed money, paper items, money paper looks great. It's got Chinese and English wording on the cards. It supports further the cultural mix that is imagined in the series. Our experiences with this game, I consider Firefly to be one of the most fun board games we have, and I probably consider it one of the top 10. It's got a strong theme and story, which is huge for me, and helps endear the games in my affections. Each game you play is going to be different because of the story cards and the cards that you'll draw from the decks and the jobs that you take from the series, from the contacts. Having watched and owned both the Firefly series and the movie, I was already a big fan of the fiction before the game came out, so once I discovered it, naturally I bought it. The story and the theme are wonderfully supported by the components and the gameplay mechanics and the pieces. So as you build up your ship, your crew, and your wealth, you risk it all as you adventure and to try to keep flying. You feel right on the edge of that tension all the time. The story cards, as I alluded to, it helps keep the games interesting and varied. It gives it great replayability. Because the goals on the story cards are different on each one, your playstyle will change somewhat between games. Helps keep it fresh. This is a long game. The box says 2 hours, but this will depend on how many players you have, how old they are, and how experienced they are with the game. With our family, we end up leaving this game out on the table for a solid week, and that's playing 1 or 2 hours per day. In addition to the long playing time, one of the difficulties with large games like this occurs with the many pieces that it has and how long it takes to set up and clean up, and this is no exception. As with other games, you will probably find some sort of organizer to be very helpful. Broken Token has an organizer for this game, but it's pretty pricey. And whenever it came out, we had already kind of cobbled together a storage system that works pretty well using little screw together cups like these, and using fold up paper card boxes, tuck boxes, and it works pretty well for us. I will link in the show notes where we got the idea for our storage system, so you can take a look at it as a cheaper alternative to the broken token organizer. I think you're going to want to have something though, because even with the organizers, as much as it helps, setup and cleanup is a long process. So as with other broken token organizers, that may solve or improve on the lengthy setup and cleanup. The base game also contains ships and supplies for between 1 and 4 players. And yes, that means you can play this game solo if you wish. There is a scenario for that. And that's a great way to learn or teach the game by demonstrating and that single player scenario of this game. But with only 4 ships and supplies for ships, you will need to buy some expansions before you can play more than 4 players. As with our group, we have 5, so right away we bought an expansion that offered another ship to play with. And if you're a Firefly fan, you're probably going to want to do that anyway, purchasing all of the expansions as they come out and you're able to afford them. But keep in mind that the major expansions for this game, the Kalidasa and Blue Sun, each add another game board. And these game boards are not small. They will add another 10 inches each to the sides of the board, as well as offering more contacts and supply planet cards. So you'll need a big table to play this on. I'm demonstrating this today for you on a 5 foot by 3 foot table, and it would not be large enough to play on comfortably. We've got 2 settings put out for you, but if you have more than 2, you would definitely need more space. Whenever we play this game, I either play it on our large dining room table, or we put out a second game table for more space. And it's really needed. All right, so Firefly also tends to be a game without a lot of player interaction from in the base game. Mostly you'll be finding yourself playing a solo game with other players there. Sometimes they'll take a unique crew that you wanted, or move a reaver onto your space, but mostly you'll be flying and doing your goals without much input or interference from the other players. The Firefly and Pirates and Bounty Hunters game expansion might change some of that by adding more player interaction, hunting one another for bounties or stealing their cargo. But we haven't purchased that one yet, so I can't really say much about that at this point. All right, for family friendliness of this game, the game box recommends age 13 and older, and I think that's an appropriate suggestion. We've been playing it in our family since our youngest was age 7, but the rules are kind of complicated. I just gave you an overview a few minutes ago. The length of the game and the time between each player's turn can cause younger players to get bored or frustrated with it. But now the question that you brown coats may be asking, did I let my kids watch Firefly? And that would be a no. Fans of the show know how that it contains mature themes and sexual situations, and I'm not willing to show that to my kids. That being the case, the game, even though it makes reference to those things, it does it without going into much detail or handling it in a discreet way. For example, talking about the companions or the reavers, they do so without describing in great detail what those two things are. And so this allows me to play it with my family without feeling too uncomfortable about the implication of the more adult parts of that. There are those things that are alluded to, so but the game is strong enough on its own with the theme that it has. Even if you're not familiar with the TV show or the movies, my kids have enjoyed playing it. So let's move on now to the strategy part of our show. Within the framework of the goals that everyone's trying to achieve in this game, Firefly is a sandbox type of game, and that means that once you know what you're trying to do, there's a lot of different ways to do it, and you can play your game inside of this sandbox. If you wish to make your money more safely by flying cargo rather than taking high-risk crime jobs, then you might want to try the freighter strategy. In doing that, it would be a great idea to pick Burgess as your captain, because he has the benefit of being able to get a free cargo loaded whenever he's completed a shipping job. That, along with having each of the 3 skills on his card, means that you will have a little bit easier time, a little leg up on the various challenges you will face in the game. The downside of this strategy is that the shipping jobs do tend to be a little on the lower end of the pay for these jobs that you can do in the game, but they also tend to rely less on the different skills that you get from having different crew. So this means that you can usually play with a smaller crew, making bigger profits since you won't have to pay for as many crew. And then if you choose cheaper or even free crew members, that helps even more than that. The morality status of the crew won't matter, because you will never be taking any immoral jobs as a freight captain, and you will want to also make sure that the crew that you do get are not wanted by the Alliance, because a lot of your shipping jobs will be done within Alliance space or passing through it. Furthermore, you'll want to improve the engines and other travel capacities of your ship as quickly as you can to maximize your travel speed and be more efficient. And so for that, you may want to start in Osiris and go through some of the cards there right off the bat to improve your engine or your other things that you can get to help your travel speed. All right, my second tip then, a different play style that you might want to try is going for all criminal activities. So this play style is more about high risk, high reward. But what we're wanting to do by looking at this build is to increase the reward while reducing the risk. So one way that you can do that is start out by taking the Malcolm card as your captain, because Malcolm is a great choice because his special ability allows you to collect $500 on the completion of each crime job. And since this is what we're focusing on in this playthrough, he makes a great choice to take along to maximize your profits. You will need a good many crewmates on this build, so look for diverse, skilled, cheap crew, and make sure that you get good equipment for them. So that there's 2 in particular crew members that I would suggest especially for this. One of them is called Fry, and he comes from the Regina deck. And if you equip him with a sniper rifle, this allows you then to reduce the number of misbehaves that you have to do on any given check by 1 to a minimum of 1. This will give you a huge advantage because misbehaves come up a lot, especially if you're doing lots of crime jobs. Also, the other crew that I would watch out for is Saffron, Yolanda, Bridget. These are a good choice for this play style because they're both are companions and grifter, and a lot of the crime jobs will come up giving a bonus for those two professions. And then finally, we'll be dealing with crime jobs. So that means you'll be mostly dealing with Niska and Patience and Badger because they have the most crime jobs. The others you won't want to bother with on that. All right. Well, as we come to an end then to this review, what I want to tell you about is what I like the most about this game. I'm a huge fan of Firefly. I love it, and this game really makes you feel like you're in the Firefly universe, flying a ship on the ragged edge of starvation and running out of fuel, hoping you don't break down in a bad place, being chased by the Alliance, being chased by Reavers, visiting the supply planets and upgrading your ship, doing jobs for the known contacts from the series. It gives a great feel for the theme that it's trying to promote here. The mechanics are fun. The game is really long, but it really immerses you into it. So I think that's what I really enjoy the most about this game is the theme of it, how it's supported by a fun gameplay. All right, so that brings us to the end of our show today. I would love to hear from you what you love the most about this game. I would, of course, recommend the expansions for this, but only if you have a really big table and a lot of room for parts. So that will bring us to the end of our show today. Please leave me those comments, tell me what you like about it, and join us again next time on Boards and Chords. Thank you. Bye. Thanks for joining us on Boards and Chords. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or at our website at boardsandchords.com. We'll see you at the table.